I'm Ben Meiselas, joined by Harry Littman of Talking Feds, the podcast, the YouTube channel. Let's get right into it, Harry. I want to talk about these Fulton County District Attorney filings opposing the effort by Donald Trump and his co-defendants to try to disqualify Fani Willis. Trump, his co-defendant Michael Roman, some others are joining as well, are arguing that based on what they call an improper personal relationship between Fani Willis and the special counsel, or one of the special counsel, Nathan Wade, who was hired by Fani Willis, this has irreparably tainted the case, they argue. Fani Willis has responded, I think, with a powerful opposition. She comes with receipts, including a photograph of the lawyer from one of the co-defendants, Michael Roman, who was not only a supporter of Nathan Wade, who's now claiming that Nathan Wade is unqualified, but was dressed in full Nathan Wade regalia. I think we've got a photo right here that was included in the filing by Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. There is Ashley Merchant, one of the people who had the audacity to say that Nathan Wade lacked qualifications, whereas in 2016, she was wearing the Go Nathan Wade shirt and saying Nathan is ethical, experience matters, a public servant, a great prosecutor, and posting that on her Facebook page. Look, Fani Willis acknowledges that there was a personal relationship with Nathan Wade. She says it developed, though, after the investigation into Trump, that there is no conflict of interest. Seemed pretty compelling. Then you have the co-defendants immediately. I mean, this filing by Fani Willis, Harry, was like 170 pages long. It had detailed declarations. Then within 3 hours, you got a response by Michael Roman's lawyer, some of the other co-defendants' lawyers, and they said, we want to have a full-fledged evidentiary hearing and go into like the sex life of Fani Willis. They want to turn it into a circus. What's going on, Harry? What do you think what's going to come of this?
Yeah, man. So it's the classic ugly brew down in Georgia of politics and law. So with some self-inflicted wound from Fani Willis. So you're right. She brings receipts, and they basically torture her for a few weeks and said, yes, we had a relationship. It didn't start, and this is a little better, until after he was in the office. She says it ended now, but fine. All right, you've got it. But now let's talk law and whether there's any basis for a conflict of interest. Did I, make money off Wade? Did I, do something that in any way prejudices defendants' rights? And the answer is pretty obviously no. And that's just common sense. But then you look at Georgia law and it's really strong here. So all the bases that you could use if it's a cold, sober law cases, okay, finally it's the mantra for when there's a PR debacle like this: get it all out immediately. She's pretty well gotten it all out, not immediately. And now there's some legs that, the Georgia opposition, they've got now their special committee for investigations, with subpoena power that's going to go into it. And you have Roman joined by Trump making really, the best sentence in there that encapsulated it all is they have their salacious moment, but there's no basis for a conflict, no basis for bouncing Wade. But a scandal demands a sacrifice, and we are now, at a point where the politics come in Georgia. Willis is up for election. Scott McAfee, the pretty competent trial judge who's shown a fairly cool head, he's up for election. People have very different views about her, whatever they think about the case. So it just seems to me, you're right, they have the receipts, but I don't think it's going away in Georgia as a political matter in headlines in the paper. But let's focus on McAfee, because that's, Roman says, I want an evidentiary hearing. McAfee, when he first got this motion, called for an evidentiary hearing. At the time, I was like, why does he want evidence? Your viewers will know the difference between just arguing about a motion and putting people on the stand. And it still remains a bit of a mystery. Who the hell he wants to put on the stand? Maybe Roman. That would be the logical thing. And you ask Roman, what do you got here, pal? And do you have your receipts? And if he doesn't, then okay, motion dismissed. But they've already subpoenaed Willis, Wade. It's clear they want to try to embarrass them and drag them through the mud. And yes, as you point out, there's some tit for tat, you could say, in Willis's motion. She outs a relationship on the defense side. It all feels like, a bad, soap opera in prime time, but it's caught up in the prosecution of the former president of the United States for really serious charges. So from the sober legal standpoint, and McAfee's been pretty good about towing the legal line, he really ought to say, yeah, okay, I heard you. There's nothing here. We'll keep going. Maybe Fani Willis has to face some ethical inquiry, but I don't see a basis for a conflict. But I think politically, it still drags on. Just today, honestly, Jim Jordan subpoenaed her, Fani Willis, and you have the special committee. And I think the question it raises is she going to face a real drumbeat of insistence for something like, for example, getting rid of Wade, the person who was supported by the picture you just saw. So legally, it should be cut and dried, but overall, this is the mantra of 2024, right? It's not, and it's gonna. I think the mess will endure. And all in all, what really matters here is when will the damn trial be? That's what matters everywhere. And I just think it tends to push in the direction of putting it off and not having it finished before the election, and that's the real sort of point for the country.
And I think a lot of people see this and they note the hypocrisy here as well. Donald Trump is an adjudicated rapist. He was found liable for sexual assault in the E. Jean Carroll case in May of 2023. And now he has his lawyers joining this motion with Michael Roman and saying, oh, the horror.
Roman, by the way, a total bottom feeder so he really is of a piece. Sorry, go ahead, man.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, wow, we're so offended by this conduct. I mean, look, one of the things with Fulton County politics, when Fani Willis was running for office originally, she ran on a position of kind of, getting rid of any of these types of interpersonal relationships in the office. She's on tape saying that she does not support any interoffice relationships. So, from that perspective, to your point, you're kind of, handing the other side something to go on when her work, when Nathan Wade's work, when their office's work have been absolutely, stellar. I don't know what you think, and I want to get your view on this. Her briefing in federal court, especially the stuff I read in the Jeff Clark and Mark Meadows, from state court prosecutors who are, and you could speak to this, kind of more roll up your sleeve trial lawyers, rough and tumble, but in federal court to see that, the type of briefing that really does well in the ivory tower of federal court. I was like, this is some of the best briefing I've ever read when they were crushing Mark Meadows, white shoe lawyers, and Jeff Clark's and making them.
Mark Meadows, who he had Supreme Court clerks on the other side. So the writing's been splendid, notably so. This 176-page motion actually got an assist. We don't know. I don't know exactly who it was, but there have been some outside lawyers who've been joining the cause. We have just everything is so different, and they're in a fishbowl. But that includes then people who want to be helpful if they can. In terms of the overall lawyering of the case, I see, I think it's been solid. Though I have from the start thought, wow, charging it as a RICO has a lot of implications, and I care the most about speed. And I think that it's a big vehicle to try to lumber down the road and also be quick. But that the die was cast with that a long time ago. Having said that, they do seem solid to me. I've tried to go back. Wade, you're totally right. There's not just hypocrisy, but mendacity going on here. But you heard, oh, he's never tried a case. Turns out he's tried like 30 felony cases, although it's on the defense side. And I do have to say, I'm a former U.S. attorney, and a lot of people see this. It's total gutter stuff that Roman did, and it was just meant to embarrass, etc. But the situation's a bad situation. She shouldn't have let it happen. But again, that doesn't have anything to do. It shouldn't have anything to do with the case. But it's a point of embarrassment that they can keep. She gave them a club to beat her with, and I think the beating is going to go on past February 15th. But I agree. It's, the counseling, the writing, everything's been quite solid. That does suggest, though, by the way, that if Wade does need to step aside as a kind of sacrificial lamb here, and speaking personally from what I can tell about Georgia, they'll still squawk. But if that happens, I do think the prospects for the case continuing to be prosecuted solidly without a big delay are strong from everything we can discern from the outside. It's more the motions and the muck and just the whole sex part is designed to be messy and embarrassing, and they're gonna keep beating that drum for sure.
We'll keep everybody posted on what happens next if that evidentiary hearing does go forward, of course, on the response to the opposition that was filed by the Fulton County District Attorney's Office.
One more quick point I just want to say, Ben, is that it's not now. It's not just now. McAfee came out of the box and said, we'll have an evidentiary hearing on the 15th. So he has something in mind that he thinks somebody needs to sit in the chair for. And so the possibilities for a kind of a spectacle are high. And also he's a solid Republican, Kemp appointee, running for retention, the youngest guy on the bench, doesn't seem to have a challenger now, so maybe he's sort of safe. But state law elections, we've seen in Wisconsin and other places, they've got flaws when politics really kind of gives the sort of white hot light on them, and it's a little bit nerve-wracking to see how this plays in Georgia and how it affects things now going forward.
Keep everybody posted. Make sure you all subscribe to the Talking Feds YouTube channel. It's partnered with the MeidasTouch network, and they're on their way to 250,000 subscribers. Let's help them.
I know that's chump change for the Meidas guy, but we're pretty happy with it. And
the analysis
you're a great audience.
Yeah. And I would describe the analysis you do over there at the Talking Feds YouTube channel as being really complementary. It's not redundant. It fills in certain gaps as well. So you could watch your MeidasTouch videos, then check out the Harry videos, and you'll get the full kind of well-rounded understanding of these events. So thanks everybody for watching. Hit subscribe here and have a great one.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.